think there we are. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to MCubed. We've got old Stormy Bear here with us.
Woohoo!
Streams in a week. You don't know how happy I am. But I will preface this stream by firstly saying it's not Monday. I'm just not tech savvy. I don't know how to switch that. It is, though, Movie Tuesday. So I'm putting that down there. Yeah, so the other thing I would preface is I'm not getting baked this stream because y'all saw me yesterday at the end of the stream. I was so excited to take a dab on stream. Matt was like, all right, we're going to finish this out with this like little game. Top 25 movies of like the first half of the year so far. Thumbs up, middle thumb, or thumbs down. Oh, God, I took a dab, and I think I got about 3-4 movies in there, and my eyes started to close, and I was like, is up. I was trying to explain a movie because Matt, I didn't see most of the movies. I hadn't seen a good chunk of the movies either. So it was like half explanations, half just figuring stuff out. It was pretty funny. But we had a good time. Also, happy Independence Day. Happy 4th of July. All that. I don't really have any American-themed shirts or anything. So I just wore this just because it's like the most American-y thing I could find. So America.
Fuck yeah. So yeah, I'm wearing, this is my 4th of July shirt. It's all black.
It's beautiful.
It symbolizes all the dark smoke and missed sleep opportunities from the last week because my neighbors will not stop shooting off fireworks to midnight,
Oh my God.
Come on. It's just
I love fireworks, but just like all the time? All the time?
Yeah, and so tonight's going to be ungodly, and I hope they run out.
Oh, I've had that hope for the last few years. I told you I live in San Fernando Valley, so it is like super Hispanic and stuff. So it's felt like a war zone for like the past week. Every year, right around this time, it feels like a war zone. All you hear is fireworks going off, car wrecks happening, and mariachi music, and you just don't know what's going on. And it's a good time, but
they could still be fighting the Mexican-American War in the San Fernando Valley.
Olay. Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
But we're talking Movie Tuesday today. It's Discount Movie Tuesday. So are you going to go check anything out in movie theaters today? Let us know in the comments. Howdy, David. Thanks for coming by. Just I guess starting off, do you want to talk about, did you see anything like particular over the last weekend or last couple days that you really enjoyed, or movies, TV even?
The thing, so I went to go see Dial of Destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I'm the curmudgeon because I really liked it. I mean, I love that movie. It was a lot of people saying it had a different flavor, different feel. For one thing, Spielberg didn't direct it; he produced it, of course. Lucas did not write it, of course.
No,
but it was really good, and I think a lot of people, they talk about Spielberg in it, and it was Spielberg after he shot Schindler's List in 1993. He talked about the evils that the Nazis did. He's talking about Schindler's List, and he's talking about how he represented Nazis in past films, specifically the Indiana Jones series.
I saw that.
And he said he should have never have done that. So his next indie film was The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And it didn't feature Nazis because it featured, the Soviets. Those were the bad guys. In this one, it starts off, with a Nazi train chase,
Yeah.
And
a long train chase. That was a solid 20-25 minutes, honestly.
Yeah, long train chase. And these were not the bumbling, humorous Nazis that we've seen in Indiana Jones or Hogan's Heroes. These were vicious people. And it was like, and there wasn't the bantering that you saw of early versions of Indy, and with the Nazis, it was
No.
it was not a, it was like no, it wasn't your typical indie movie. It was these were serious, horrible, real-ish Nazis. And that really, it didn't taint, as in my opinion, it didn't taint the film. It made it more impactful for me, And so then you see Indy constantly playing tag with these with the villain, this Nazi mathematician.
Mads Mikkelsen. I don't remember the character's name. But yeah.
Yeah. So it was and they were back and forth. Someone's got the dial. He's got the dial. Someone else has got the dial. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until it ends in its conclusion. And I thought it was excellent. I mean, it wasn't. I know Spielberg and Lucas, when they set out, to make the first indie film, it was kind of like a Saturday morning serial, that you'd see in the theaters back in the 50s. Is they kind of had that flavor.
Yeah.
This was not that. No. And I think it caught a lot of audiences off guard. They were expecting to see Raiders of the Lost Ark, something like that, with this new objects, this new MacGuffin. But no, this was not that. It was an excellent film, but it was not keeping with the Saturday morning serial kind of things you'd see at the theaters back in the 50s.
Yeah.
I thought it was better. I think this, for me, is one of the better Indiana Jones films. And because it showed, Indiana Jones personally as he wasn't the hero. He was this washed up, pitiful professor, barely getting by in this shitty walk up in New York.
Yeah. That was probably the bit I didn't like about it. I wish Indiana Jones was more Indiana Jones. The whole story could have still been the same story and still made sense with him being like a successful professor or someone that has I feel like that was just for the sake of it, which we kind of got into a little bit yesterday. I feel like that might just be a higher up decision, I guess. I don't necessarily think that's what James Mangold probably chose, or David Koepp or any of the other writers, because they typically write strong leads and stuff. And Indy was still a strong lead, but there was just something a little lacking at the beginning after the train chase. I felt like I still love the film. I don't know if I don't know if I like it or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull more, honestly, at the moment. I'm going to have to see this again. I like this more as like a legitimate film.
Yeah.
But indie film wise, I do love the little pop kind of, this is a fun adventure movie, but also, there's Nazis. You don't want to make them too fun and stuff like that. So I completely agree with what I guess Spielberg thought and said with all that kind of stuff. But I do miss the popcorn adventure aspect of it. I love the James Mangold, because it feels like a James Mangold film, and I adore James Mangold as a filmmaker. So, I mean, 3:10 to Yuma. This felt like 3:10 to Yuma in in a lot of ways, not plot wise or anything.
Right.
That feel of the film, and I had a good time. I don't know where exactly I'll rank it at the end of the day, but I did enjoy it a hell of a lot more because we were all kind of skeptic going into it. Is it going to be good? Is it going to live up to anything? I think it lived up to things just fine. I think it could have lived up to things more, but not in a bad way. I just they're just the most minor things I think that I have any qualms with. Like my biggest qualm with the movie is the fact they killed Shia LaBeouf off screen. Sorry, spoilers.
Oh, you said that on stream? Oh my God! It's the number one in the box office. Oh, and then you spew out the spoilers.
Too late. Little too little, too late. But okay, that's just not really the biggest of deals by any means.
So
that's
So I guess he died. It was the Vietnam War. Yes,
that would have to. Yeah, it'd have to be right.
Way too. Yeah, because there's way too. Yeah, because the Korean War had already passed at the beginning of the film when he gets launched through space in the when Indy gets launched through space in the refrigerator. You know.
Yeah. Uh huh.
Right. So, but yeah, so I guess he died. It had to have been the Vietnam War.
Which would make sense. Kind of trying to piss him off, trying to piss Dad off, kind of deal. Let me go fight this war, and then not everybody. It's kind of funny that Indy would kind of end up being more of the hippie. Wouldn't be the right term, but he'd probably agree with the hippies, like screw this war, stop doing all that, like let's go exploring.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Indy was he was greatly shaped by World War II.
Yes.
And he knew it was bad. It was not just in terms of looting of antiquities or whatnot, but he knew it was bad on a personal, on humanity. It was just, tens of millions of people died in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
He knew it was bad. And, it's a lot of the vets that I know that came out of the Iraq War, or those I know that came out of Vietnam, they're against war all because they've already been there, done that. They got the PTSD to show it, and it is so in terms of Indy, he already went through that, and he was working for the CIA and the federal government throughout the Korean War. And I think the point, you have the astronauts going on in the parade, and then the peace demonstrators secondary. I think he really, these are my guys.
Yeah.
He understands that, even though these people may not have, unless they were vets of the Vietnam War, he knew probably more intimately about why war is bad than the people in the streets because they were just too young.
Yeah.
Too young.
They're kind of they're jaded in an unjaded kind of sense, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Their heart's in the right place, but they don't have the benefit of experience.
That context isn't there for them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Harrison Ford just, he can depict all that so well. Like, I think in the out of theater reaction I put out was like, Phoebe Waller-Bridge just felt wooden across from him, even though he is like a wooden actor because he's very wooden, but he just shows you so much charisma through the smallest of grunt or the smallest of head turn or whatever it is. The guy's an amazing actor by really not having to do that much, and I thought that helped the film out a lot, and it also hurt the film for some of the supporting cast. Mads Mikkelsen, kind of that same tier of actor, so I don't think that was a problem. But and I liked the kid. I liked Short Round Part 2. I don't what was his name? Ethan? What was it? Ethan, EJ, something like that. I think it was an E. Hold up, I got the IMDb right here. I can look it up real quick because that'll go. I'm looking for the little kid. Teddy. Oh, the kid's name is Ethan. The kid that played him is Ethan, but Teddy was the character's name. There we go. I got things.
Right.
I got things mixed up. I liked him. I thought it was definitely like Ki Kwan round 2, but with a little more like, I don't know, Aladdin, because he was more of like a sneak thief than like a little like, I'm going to build this and do this cool little thing,
Right.
But yeah. I enjoyed it overall. I'm kind of shocked at where it's come in box office wise, and not shocked at the same time.
Well, everybody I know works at. Yeah, I'm just waiting for it to stream.
Really?
Everyone. Yeah, it was like, yeah, it wasn't. A lot of people I work with, they were all in going to see Way of Water, Avatar Part 2, Way of Water.
Okay.
On big screen, they wanted to see it in big screen. In fact, they all wanted to see it in IMAX. And here locally, Dial of Destiny was not available in IMAX.
Really?
So I'm wondering if we are getting to the point, especially after COVID, where movie-going habits have shifted. Well, I'll go to the theater if it's something I want to see in IMAX, because I don't get that experience on my 80-inch screen, TV at home while I'm streaming it through wherever. And for me, this is one of the. If I didn't have the day off, I probably would have just said, well, I'll just buy I'll just buy the thing off of Apple or something. Then I'll
Yeah.
just have it and watch it anytime I want. Plus, I get all the extras, and it's probably going to cost me just as much as the movie ticket and the popcorn. You know, but I was going back to Indy kind of when you see him in present day of the film in the '60s. He's in his underwear. He's asleep in his chair, trying to get some sleep in his chair, and the Beatles is playing next door, really, really loud. And he just looks like he's been through it. He's shirtless in his boxers, rattling on the kid's door. Hey, turn that music down. I think because he was in a shitty, walk-up apartment in New York. Clearly, his students didn't give a shit about what he was talking about. I think they did that on purpose. And it was such a vibrant mirror compared to the train chase scene and then the third story walk up or whatever, that it sets the film up for why Indy wants to stay. Are you just going to mark this as spoilers all the way around?
We probably we'll keep it up there to be safe.
Okay, so yeah, spoilers. Look away. Go someplace else because I'm going to rip it into shreds. So when Indy gets into the Battle of Syracuse, right, and he's telling Archimedes he wants to stay, it's because he's lost everything he loved. He lost his teaching profession. He lost the respect of his students. He lost his son, and he lost his wife. He had nothing. I mean, he had nothing, and
that he thought, because thankfully that was all still there, kind of at the end.
Yeah,
John Rhys Davies and all them coming back the little John Rhys Davies cameos were maybe my favorite parts. Like I love John Rhys Davies so much.
Right. And Marion came back, but he didn't know that. Because I think, as I've been thinking about the film, depression lies. And I think there's lots of little tiny bits in this film that shows that Indiana Jones is depressed.
Oh, very much so.
He's in the grips of it because he was willing. You see where in the train scene, he's willing to, to risk his life, but not to, he doesn't want to do it, he's not going to throw his life away.
Yeah.
Here, he was willing to throw his life away too many times. You knew he just didn't give a shit about living anymore. So he finally finds something, the thing that he loved, teaching in archaeology in the past. And he's willing to stay. He said, I'm shot in the chest. There's a bullet in me, but it's just where I want to stay because this is where I found life again. And then he gets beaten in the head, shocked in the jaw, not clean and conscious, dragged back to the present day. And, then he wakes up and, when you can see the regret in his face when he wakes up and says, fuck, I had it all and then I lost it again. And then Sala and then and Marion comes, and then that kind of he sees a way out of the depression. He sees that there is something to live for, and the things he lost, he can now begin to heal because it seems that Marion started to heal, and I think without Marion's healing, he would have just been a suicide victim or something.
Yeah,
that's my psychoanalysis.
Well,
5 minutes.
It's correct. It's very Mangold like in that way, where Indy almost went through the same thing Logan went through in Logan, in a lot of ways, just with a lot less superpowers going on. Maybe I was about to say more time travel, just about the same amount of time travel, I think. But very similar in that sense of like. They both are broken for certain reasons. They feel like they had so much, lost so much. There's nothing else to live for, but there always is, right? And and thankfully, this movie that's where the popcorn was in there was like, okay, he's trying to find something to live for, and whether he wants to find it or not, it's going to keep throwing life's going to keep throwing lemons at you, whether or not you dodge them and catch it or it hits you in the back of the head. That's up to you. And I guess it's kind of him piecing that bit of that. He's like, okay, I'm old, but I'm not that old. I still have
Yeah.
time. And that's kind of just allowing that love to flourish again, which is nice. It's necessary.
Yeah.
That part feels Lucasfilm like, which I like.
Yeah. And there's a lot of things, and I don't know if this was just me recognizing it because I was raised by my grandmother. She died about 5 years ago, and it fucking crushed me, man. I mean, I checked out of life in 2018. No one saw me that summer. I mean, I just checked out, stayed my loft. It just didn't do anything. Because that's when I learned that there is the difference between sadness and grief is the sadness goes away.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that all over Indiana Jones, in this last movie. And when he says that we lost Mutt, it's fuck, that's it. And then I really rang true with the rest of the film. That may be why I like it more than any of the other ones. But it was definitely not a Spielberg, not a Lucas written, created effort. But it was completely different, and there's a lot of elements. They took the Nazis really seriously. In Indiana Jones, older guy, 80s, and I guess now, and had just been through the ringer,
Really?
I mean, his dad's diary was signed by Adolf. I mean, fuck me,
Yeah.
So I think they took that. They took the story of a depressed man and showed him a path to healing.
Yeah, they did. You did just say something that one of my qualms, just as we're talking about all the things we like about the movie. Of course, I got devil's advocate a bit. No, just kidding. Because it's going to rope back to something I did like. Was one of the things I didn't like was yes, there's a lot of CG and you have to use it, but the way they used it. They tried to kind of emulate kind of older indie stuff by, putting his head next to a rock or someone's head next to a rock, or, we gotta move out of the way just in time, or some sign's going to hit somebody or something like that. None of those felt very real because they were CG, and like the weight to those scenes weren't really there. You're like, oh, okay, they're gone. Next thing. Okay, their next thing. It just kind of was a continuous thing there. But with the way that the Nazis were portrayed and they weren't so popcorny, I think that helped that aspect of everything out so much more because the CG might have lost some of like that weight and gravitas the film had. Just the mean and doggedness, the meanness and doggedness of the antagonists, the villains, the Nazis, all of them. That I think helped add weight back to the film. And whether they were a little popcorn like because they're Boyd Holbrook is great at being not so popcorny, but he was still popcorny enough to, all right, the kid got loose. We won't shoot the kid. Oh, Indy got loose. Oh, damn, he's in a crowd. We won't start shooting everybody in the crowd, but we'll just shoot once up in the air or something like that. So there were still like elements of like, almost got you, and it's not like, okay, he could have just pointed him and shot right quick or wounded him and then grabbed him and done a number of different things that would have just cut this plot line short, but thankfully, that Lucasfilm kind of popcorn funness kind of came back, and I think that allowed those little bits to go, even with the extra weight added to them, which was nice. It was really nice.
I think one of the chief differences in the Nazis in this movie and the Nazis in the previous ones is like when there's a gun to Sean Connery's head, and is where is the Grail, they're not going to shoot Sean Connery, or when the gun's on somebody else, they're not going to shoot him.
Yeah.
But when they had the gun on Basil, Toby Shaw's character or Toby Jones's character, you didn't know if they were going to shoot his ass or not.
Oh. Yeah.
And then in the archive of the college that Ford was in, they just shot the librarian, they shot the assistant, they shot another teacher. I mean, it was literally a bloodbath, and that really shocked me. And usually they just punch him out or tie him up or something. Pre Schindler's List Nazis, they'd just be tied up. They wouldn't be gunned down in cold blood.
That scene was awesome.
It's like, ooh, that's different. And I think they're taking the evilness of the Nazis. And they're not popcorning it up. They're
it's not even to an extreme level or anything. It's to like an adequate level. It was nice. nice, quote unquote nice. It's just more realism, you know.
Yeah.
You did just make me think of something else though. Toby Jones in there. I love and adore Toby Jones as an actor. Guy's amazing and great.
Yeah.
But that character made next to no damn sense in the movie. It's probably one of the things that aggravates me thinking about it. Just like, come on, you have just introducing Toby Jones, having a whole 20-25 minute thing. Like, obviously, Ki-Hai Kwan wasn't super popular again by the time they started filming this, but like, why wouldn't Short Round's kids be godparents, or Indy not be godparents to Short Round's kids? Why are John Rhys Davies' children not in there? We only see his grandkids, and wouldn't Indy be their godfather or something like that too, or at least Uncle Indy or something like that? You know, I feel like those. I love Toby Jones, and I do like Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I feel like there was a better way to approach that little tidbit, and that's just me just being anal about just canon and just everything they've already set up.
Those are some questions.
It just felt like a shoehorn, and that's why I don't necessarily like the Indiana Jones being depressed aspect of things. Is like he could he could be totally depressed because of his son and be distant from everybody.
Yeah.
And not so much like, oh, nobody exists anymore, and he's just hiding in his own little hole, and then, oh, I have a goddaughter? Oh, I mean, it's not that I have a goddaughter. He knew that, but it's like, oh, Wombat's back. You know, it's like, cool, that's great, but it just felt shoehorned in that sense, where John Rhys Davies 20 seconds later is like, I want to go on an adventure. It would have been nice, and it would have been really cool if Phoebe Waller-Bridge was playing John Rhys Davies' daughter, or something like that, and then she might even have to like say punch him or something, and Indy might have to punch John Rhys Davies to be like, yeah, you're not coming on an adventure. It's not so much the talk down, like get back in your car and go that way. I don't know. I'm just griping just for the sake of griping, I guess, but that's also just it feels more natural.
It would have. I think you're right. Because I think
it would make the death for Shia LaBeouf off screen feel that much more as well, because all those people knew Shia LaBeouf's character, and it's not necessarily Toby Jones and Phoebe Waller-Bridge just kind of like, oh, you had a son, and he's gone now, kind of.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, I think if you involved Salah's character or Short Round's character more, or actually brought Short Round's character into it some way, and it was Short Round's kid, and then Short Round himself comes around and helps save him at the end or whatever. I think that that would have been another cool way it would have gone.
It's kind of nostalgia baity, but at the same time, it fits within the narrative.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I really like the film though. It feels very much more like Mangold than it does Spielberg, but it does come back to that Spielberg Lucas film kind of feel every now and then, and it makes you happy when it does.
Well, it definitely had Spielberg's money.
Yeah.
God, what was the budget? What was the budget for that thing?
I want to say it was $300 million off the top of my head. I will type it in real quick. Budget for Indiana Jones 5. I believe, $300 million. Around $300 million before the marketing push. So that could be some marketing. Which you usually want to double the budget number for that. So if it's anywhere near $600 million, whew, okay, that brings us to a great little way of, oh, hold up. I'm going to have to switch this beforehand just so it looks all right. We're going this way, and let me take this banner. No. Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
There we go. All right, figured it out.
Oh, right. Okay, I see what you're doing.
Share the screen. And I'm going to put...
Now everybody knows I'm just laying in bed.
So Twitter on this thing. Honestly, I couldn't even tell it was bed. I thought it was like a fun little like beanbag couch or something.
No.
But here is our top 5 domestic from this past weekend. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. $60 million on a $300 million budget with which is probably looking closer to like 600 million.
But look at the total for the top 5 for a holiday weekend, summer. All these are tentpole movies, you know.
They are,
and no one's going to the theaters anymore,
which is insane. I was so happy we keep talking about it. The last couple months have kind of been, the box office has been doing fairly decent, and each weekend has like the top 5 tend to have $10 million in revenue or more, and this is one of the first weekends where it hasn't, like the top 5, they're close. The 4th and 5th are close to 10 million, but they don't hit that double digit in the million number, and it's I don't know if it's people sitting down watching The Witcher right now or what, but nobody's going out to theaters, and not nobody. There's still a decent amount, but like I don't know what's keeping them. Because earlier, I'm glad this comment's still here. David was saying Avatar: The Way of Water. He slept an hour, watched an hour, slept an hour, watched an hour, and it was boring. I love the movie, but I understand it. I understand it's a long movie. But if you mind me asking you, David, while you are in the comments, what made you want to watch Avatar over Indiana Jones by chance? Like, is there something like, is the spectacle there that makes you want to go see that or not? This I will rope this back into an actual legitimate question once we're done talking about like box office and stuff, because just the box office isn't doing as great in general right now, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But right now we're just talking Indiana Jones. Is there a reason that you didn't go check it out? And this goes for anybody in the comments. Anybody here, of course, and anybody later, let us know, because we're interested, and this just kind of lets us to have a better tap on the pulse, you know?
We just want those things to bitch about, that's all.
Of course, and it's great. We live in fun parts of the world to bitch about stuff, you know? Keeps things interesting. But yeah, no, I'm worried. What do you think about Indiana Jones making 60 million? Because obviously the projected for the long weekend is 82, I believe, and that's including both today and yesterday, that Monday and Tuesday afterwards.
Well, one thing, you know, the global box office through today is 130 million.
Yes.
So, you know, what's interesting is more than half the box office comes from outside the United States and Canada.
Big time, yeah.
Big time.
It's just hard to report on that, just because, you know, not everything comes out at the same time.
Oh, God.
And dollar differences or something. It's just easy to report.
I guess it's not going to be released for another couple of weeks. I mean, it got released here on July 4th weekend because, you know, Independence Day. Well, it's going to be different throughout the world. So it's this, but still, you know, 130 the first week, it's not too tragic.
Well, just I believe opening weekend for Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was 270 million.
Oh.
So that's kind of the perspective, and that's domestic, I believe, as well.
So that's the last time we had like a weekend like that.
Avatar, Top Gun Maverick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no. Avatar only made, I think, no, it made more than what it was projected. I think it was 120, 130 million. Because the first one only made 70 million opening weekend. But I think Top Gun's the only thing that's even gotten close to that realistically, on that, like, just that, because Top Gun just had such a big push. And I don't remember exactly what its opening weekend was, but I think it was close to like 170, 200, something in that range. I could be totally wrong though. It's intriguing, because this is the only new film that came out this weekend out of the top 5. There were a couple other films that came out, but nothing nearly as big. When you put Indiana Jones out there, you know, I don't think the competition's really there as much. But Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse making another $11.5 million in what? It's weekend?
Thanks.
No,
second or third?
It came out. Transformers is in its 4th weekend, and Spider-Verse came out before Transformers, I think. Maybe it's. I think it was like a week before Transformers, so I think it's in its 5th weekend. Elemental is in its third weekend now, and it's still kicking. So that's kind of my question with Indiana Jones. Looking at Elemental and thinking about Avatar: The Way of Water, is it's also a film. Yes, like people my age and younger are like, "Ooh, Indiana Jones, let's go check it out." But it is a film oriented towards an older generation. Do you think, since that older generation is not necessarily the type of people that are like, "I'm gonna go see this box office weekend, opening weekend, something like that," what do you think it's gonna have legs?
Well, definitely, I think, the older generation, which I'm clearly a member of, it is, it's kind of a pain in the ass to go to the theater. It's easier just to, plop down, order the film, streaming, or just buy it streaming and just watch it there, with our comfy shoes.
Comfy shoes. I'm wearing flip flops. I had to put them back on because I started moving around on the floor.
Oh my god! But I mean, I used to be an avid moviegoer not too long ago. I mean, when I was living in San Francisco in the early aughts, Sunday was my day to go see movies. I mean, I'd see 3 or 4. I'd just hopscotch across the city, going to all these theaters just to see whatever I wanted to. And it wasn't until really I got out of that during COVID, because the rise of COVID and the rise of streaming, it kind of got to this nexus. Oh my God, I can just get this here, or wait 2 weeks because my schedule's so full, doing what I do. I can just stay at home. I don't have to worry about the tickets. I can go out to eat, get a really nice meal, then come home and watch it, on my big ass screen TV or whatever. So I'm just, I'm wondering if it's the rise of technology. And it seems like younger generations, it seems like they're almost as, not as much, but almost as resistive as going to the movies, unless it's like a dating situation or something. They just want to see a movie. There's so many choices. Like you said, it's Witcher weekend or something, and because I still got that to mow through,
Which it's all right.
Yeah, but I think you're onto something, concerning box office. Like, Way of Water, its opening weekend was 134 million in the U.S. And that was, kind of post-COVID. And its worldwide gross was 2.3 billion. And Indiana Jones, with not a lot of COVID, or not COVID's no longer a thing. Not even half that.
It's weird to see, and I'm about to be, not about to be. I still have a solid half a year, a little over half a year, but I'm roughly 25, just for the sake of like just that easy number to follow.
Oh, shut up.
Well, there's a point to it, because
whippersnapper, you.
I'm an old soul, thankfully. My lungs are like 70 years old, so it's okay. I swim and I smoke. There's goodness and there's badness,
We're going to have a talk about your smoking habits.
At least they're green.
At least they're green.
Oops. It's interesting because my generation, I feel like I'm kind of in that weird spot because I'm a 99 baby, so there's the millennials that I'm kind of part of, and then the younger people that I'm kind of part of, and both generations have been very much raised on movies. We all grew up going to the movie theaters. The Marvel Cinematic frickin' Universe happened, and Avatar: The Way of Water happened, or not Avatar: The Way of Water. The original Avatar happened while we were all growing up, kind of deal. These are the biggest movies ever, kind of thing. Like this is what our generation was raised on. And I guess we're just such a palpable group of youngins over here that the pandemic just took us out of it, and now nobody wants to go to a movie theater at all anymore. And it's just it's so odd to see because it's so ingrained in our souls. My first film memory is Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, Smeagol turning into Gollum. It's terrifying that that's etched into my brain the way it is, but it is.
I'm so glad it is.
I think If anybody would be as happy as I am that it's there, it'd be you. So I'm glad. Or J.R. Tolkien.
May it terrify you forever.
Thank you, Andy Serkis. I appreciate it.
God,
do I? I do appreciate it.
He's such a great actor.
He's the best. I love his directing as well. It's not always great. I didn't like the new Carnage movie or Venom Carnage, but I don't think that was his fault. I just don't like the way it's written. But that's besides the point. Andy Serkis all day, every day. Andor Andy Serkis was amazing, but that's a whole different tangent I can go on. I don't get why people my age are they afraid because of the pandemic? I don't really think that's the case. People are still going out partying every damn weekend.
Well, I think another competitor to going to the movies is things like TikTok.
Oh yeah, you're just.
TikTok. I mean, it's just a almost the perfect serotonin device. Because you can really, I've even done this. You lose a whole day just watching TikTok stuff, and you haven't learned anything. You've consumed all these bits and bytes. And I don't know why I keep getting this week. I keep getting staying alive little dances. Don't know why that's a thing. Okay, go on. Then I'll get a nice healthy stream of quantum physics, and then it's more staying alive. I do not understand. It's so easy to get caught up in that and spend hours in it. It's too late to go to a movie. Because the online and social media has become a very significant part of American entertainment space.
Yeah, it's our pastime now.
Yeah, and I don't think there's a movie really out there that's been made 30, 40 years that can provide that kind of serotonin uptake as TikTok, sadly.
Which is wild because Marvel has been trying.
Yeah.
But I think in that trying to just hit that constant serotonin, it doesn't work in a film. You need those highs and lows, and you
gotta have lows. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's I guess laying in bed after. People also now have 70-inch OLED screens with surround sound. So the experience is now better. That's true.
He's actually right. He's absolutely right.
Even if you're not getting that quick little serotonin thing, you have these fancy things. They're never as good as the actual big old silver screen, though. And that's okay because they're still amazing in their own right. I do hope I did see Rings of Power. I know you'll probably like it more than most people. But I did go see another Rings of Power showing, I think, a month ago. And it was in a movie theater, and I saw the first 2 episodes again. And it was I can't remember characters' names right now. Arendir was there. What's the dwarf prince? What's that little dwarf prince called?
Dwalin?
Was it Balin?
Dwalin, I thought.
Gwalin? I don't even remember. Is it Gwaine and Gwalin? Is that the father son there? I can't even remember. Him, his wife, not Dijkstra. That's a Witcher character. Deidre is her name. And then the costumer, and then J.A. Bayona, who directed those 2 episodes and directed Jurassic World, the second one. I forgot what that one's called. Fallen Kingdom, I think. Yeah.
Right.
They were all there, and that was really interesting. And that's kind of besides the point. That's just a little context, just because I know you like Lord of the Rings. That's what I was there for. The cool thing about it was they, I guess, had chosen this particular screen, and I think it's the only one in the country as of yet, maybe the world. And of course, LA, we luck out with some things like that every now and then. But it was a completely HD screen, so no projector at all, completely pixelated in HD, and that's I think the next heralding in of what screens can be, because it felt IMAX-y without being like an IMAX kind of showing.
Right.
But are theaters ever going to be able to put something like that into a theater if they're not even making money off of the films that are already here? Like that'd be almost too expensive, I think, to replace a lot of theaters with over time, even though it should naturally in just the way of like time progresses and you know, technology progresses within the medium. But I don't know.
I got a thought on that.
Okay.
So anyway, the character is Durin, Prince Durin the Fourth.
Durin,
of
course.
Rylan was the father. Anyway, so at work we had a really fancy event this last week or week before, and we had these enormous out on the tarmac in front of the spaceport. We had these enormous LCD screens.
Oh,
I mean they were theater big. You know, I mean they brought them in on trucks. And set them up with these big, you know, loudspeakers so the crowd could see what's going on. And, you know, they were really good resolution. I mean, everything we were shooting, you know, the stuff, the cameras that we were using is all 4K. I think we also had some 8K drones, maybe. I mean, and it was, you really got to shoot, you know, 8K and above, I think, to really get the impact. But these were huge ass screens that they just, you know, big ones, and they were mounted on trucks. And I don't know what we rented them for, but yeah, I mean that the technology's here. It's just because, you know, at some point in time they're going to be even bigger and even fancier and even, you know, higher throughput rate in terms of bit speed, you know, bit rate and all that. So it's, I mean, their theaters have always been upgraded, you know, and their screens. So I don't know, man. I mean, I think that it's here about how the cost analysis for a theater and getting quality content to put on those high quality screens. I don't know. I mean, we're clearly shooting already in IMAX, right? I mean, even, you know, we'll shoot in IMAX even if we're you know, a standard movie format size. So, you know, it's just a term, excuse me, it's just in terms of editing for whatever screen size we're doing or using. So I think it's there. It's just theater owners. I mean, you know, it's getting more costly to run a theater these days.
And they're upcharging food and not necessarily ticket prices, but ticket prices isn't food. I feel like ticket prices generally all kind of raise up at the same time, but you could go to two different theaters and have completely different prices on food. Yeah. And that's completely up to them and how much money they want to be making as a theater. And I guess that is also up to the audience whether we go in there wanting to buy something or not, whether it's good quality or not, which, you know, most of the theaters are not like good quality food, which I love me an Alamo Drafthouse. Do you ever go to an Alamo Drafthouse or anything like that?
No. I think there's one in El Paso.
Yeah. They're amazing. They're so cool because you get like a legitimate nice meal, maybe even a drink or two, and they just bring them up to your little table. There's a little menu that you kind of put under a small little light that doesn't really distract anybody. It's great. I love it. I think it's concerts are using them more now too. Yeah, they really are. I watched the Kill Tony 10th anniversary edition version of the podcast yesterday, and they had a big old thing at the ACL festival kind of area. Yeah, and they were just tossing out cool little graphics on the back screen, and it didn't look like it was projected. It had to be HD, which is interesting. Just the implementation of it will be hard, and then finding the cost analysis versus, okay, is that popcorn going to be $12 for a small now, or is it going to be $8 for a small, or is it going to be $5 for a small?
It was the matinee price here in Las Cruces for Indy was $10.
That's not bad.
That is not bad at all, and but it was, you know, one of those with the reclining chairs, and you had, you know, they're really, you know, selling you not just popcorn, they're selling you dinner, you know, and
the experience,
right. The best theater I've ever been to was the Kabuki Theater in San Francisco. It was, I mean, at one point they had a Michelin chef. I mean, Jesus Christ. It was fancy, you know, and it wasn't just like some cheap burger. It wasn't bar food, man. I mean, it was amazing. It was insane. And of course, the ticket prices was insane too.
Oh, I assume.
I mean, you wouldn't get out of there for less than $100 per person. And this was 15 years ago. God, it was great. Oh my Lord.
I love fancy. that.
Harris, let me tell you, I was ruined.
Oh, that would ruin you. You want to go see every movie like that. If Movie Pass offered like a little movie pass for that thing, I'd be there every day.
Jesus, the movie pass would be more than rent for that shop.
We'll
was
have to do a.
So
Sorry, what?
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah. So keep matching the screen with the level of service you get from a theater. That's what's going to make or break a theater, I think, these days.
Yeah,
and it's going to be more extreme in the future.
Yeah, and I don't know if like even adding all the new fun screens will make people want to go more. I think kind of this. Okay, real quick. Let's just look at these numbers real quick, and we'll get on to this point that I've been trying to get to for a little bit.
I keep distracting you. I'm so sorry.
No. It's good distractions because we go on great tangents. But there's just this one point that I wrote down while you made me write it down earlier. You added to my thought process from before the stream, which was nice. So now my brain is completely on that, and I've been trying to work it to it. But let's just talk about box office super quick. Elemental, after Spider-Man, made $11.5 million. Elemental made 11.3, which that was Disney's last movie they released. It bombed just as much as The Flash bombed, if not worse, that same opening weekend. And then it made more than The Flash the second weekend, and now it's the third weekend, and it's still kind of it's not going to make its budget back, but it's making decent money. It might make its budget back worldwide. Obviously, this is just domestic stuff, but this is not where you want to see a Pixar movie in its third week, and really, that's not where you want to see a comedy movie in its second week, or maybe third week. I think second week, and then that's not where you want to see a Transformers Universal film in its fourth week, because their last film before that was Fast and Furious 10 or Fast X, whatever the hell it is now, and that didn't make money either. That's already on streaming, or it's going to be on streaming within, I think, the week. So, yeah.
That's
Vin Diesel wasn't even like, let it sit for a little bit. No, he was like, put it on streaming and just let it happen. Which that's going to, I think, it might make almost half of what, I think it should be a little over half of what Fast 9 made, which was $400 million less than the Furious 8 or Fast and Furious 8, whatever that one was called, which, those numbers are going down. And that's just not, it's
not sustainable for a franchise.
No, it's not what you want to see. And if there's two more of those left, Fast and Furious wise, and if this is the hopping on point to a franchise Transformers wise, that's hard with those type of numbers. And then Elemental is another one. Like Pixar should just be making cash when it comes out. And it's Elemental. I don't know why people were rating it so bad when it first came out, because I loved it. I really thought it was a really sweet little movie. It doesn't have an antagonist really, and I think that might be the thing that kind of throws people off. But like the world can be an antagonist just as much as a person, and it's not necessarily the world's trying to beat somebody down either. It's just someone living within that world and then realizing, oh, there's more than my own little like small bubble. You know, I like the story. I thought it was well told, but it kind of does suck that they're not making that. The money you'd hope they'd make. And that all being said, I finally get to rope it back to the point I've been trying to make. I'm so excited. So, could this herald in a new / old style of storytelling? Like we've literally talked from those past five are all the five big box office from this past weekend are all quote unquote big movies. Lucasfilm, Pixar, Sony and Spider-Man, Universal, and then No Hard Feelings, a Jennifer Lawrence comedy, and I do actually really, really like it. It's a rom-com, but I think it might be in the top 3 comedies of the year so far. Really enjoy it. And you know, comedy should be making a bunch of money too, and it's been kind of having just as much of a hardship on it as a lot of these other genres have the last couple of years and studios have had. But I guess the question, long question short, is does this, you think, promote more spectacle filmmaking in the sense of James Cameron made Avatar: The Way of Water, and yes, even though all these things are kind of struggling, That's the third highest grossing film ever. And now he has 3 out of the 5 highest grossing films ever. And that's because all of these things are legitimate spectacles that like what we were saying earlier, you go see it in a movie theater. Like, it just ends up being that way. Or do we go back to like 60, 70, $80 million budgets, 30, 40, $50 million budgets, and really find a way to get a lot of these people that just like, all right, well, we'll let the studio pay for that. We'll let the producers figure that out. And they all have to spend all this extra money in like the tail end or just throughout a film set. If we had a lot more economical kind of filmmakers, do you think this might bring on more economic filmmaking or more spectacle filmmaking, I guess? And what is necessary for today?
Well, to have a really good spectacle film, let's go back to the very first Star Wars movie, A New Hope. That was a very economically prudent George Lucas. Had no money. Studio hated it. A lot of people just, what's this? What? It's what? It's a princess and she's doing, it sounded like, every bad sci-fi movie we ever had to endure in the 60s. But it was a spectacle. No one had ever seen that before. And, everybody, has seen it, and we've seen more spectacle since then. But in terms of a jolt to the system, it's very difficult for, I saw it when, I don't want to admit when I saw it. I was a very young lad when I saw it, and it was a jolt to the system. Literally, this was the only thing anyone was talking about, person to person or in newspapers or, at church or everyone was talking about this movie, Star Wars. And everybody went to go see it every weekend. There was I remember I took my, my half brother to it. It was like to this one theater in North Carolina, and it had been showing in this one theater it was in its 52nd week of release. It was still in the theater. It was still, you had to wait in line, and they were still selling out a year later. Now, brothers and sisters, that's a spectacle. That's a big, big ass spectacle. They were like, a year later, lined up around the block. I remember waiting 15, 20 minutes to get to the window to see it, and it is so hard. You see, you see the documentaries on how it played, but as a cultural impact, it is so hard to explain it to somebody that wasn't there. And this one little theater, it played for, and it played until the next movie came out. It was in this one theater, and it was, and it was a chewed up print, and you didn't care, Yeah. And so when we get this spectacle, we're really, I don't know if we're burned out on spectacle, and it takes talent to really create spectacle. James Cameron, okay, he's good at spectacle, but somebody that doesn't have that talent, do not give him $300 million.
It's true.
And George Lucas had nothing.
No,
he was gambling away, his producer fee. He's gambling away everything else on this one film, but he was good. If you've ever seen his movie Radioland, I don't know if you've ever seen. It was about George Lucas, Radioland. The Radioland Murders. Excuse me, it's Radioland Murders. Go see it. It's about this. It's about this a studio that makes these radio serials, right? And there's a murder involved, and it's this kind of this who's going to get to TV first, and it's this crazy, but it goes full fucking steam all the way through. It never lets up. It's a great movie. No one's ever heard of it. Radioland Murders. Definitely got to go see it.
Yeah, I even own THX 1138, and I haven't heard of that one. So
yeah, but it goes a million miles an hour, and it's spectacle. But at the time, like, this isn't space. What's this Lucas thing? It's not about space. But so even if you are good at that, at spectacle, you still have audience expectations, and you have all this other stuff and marketing, and so, but yeah, you just can't give anyone $300 million. It takes craft. It takes great actors. It takes great writers, and Lucas and Spielberg, Coppola, and all these guys that are good at that. They are good at that for a reason. You get everything together, and you all of a sudden you have Apocalypse Now. That lasts forever, and everybody still quotes it 40 years later.
And it's really not that expensive to make. That's the difference with, like, I love, obviously, Star Wars. This is one of my first loves, and George Lucas is amazing, and he had a fairly shoestring budget back then. I guess the only thing I can compare to that, just from like growing up, the only two things that really come to mind would be Avatar: The Way. I keep saying Way of Water just because that's the one that keeps popping into my mind. But Avatar, the original 2009 one, but James Cameron didn't have a cheap budget. He was like, "Hey, I made Titanic. You're giving me all the money I want and all the time." And that brought that kind of spectacle. The only other thing I can think of is Lord of the Rings, where he was like, "I'm making all three at once. The studio is going to give me a certain amount of money. Okay, I might have to ask one more time for a little bit more money." But it was economical in that sense where he's like, I only have so much time to make it. We have to get this, and this done. And we have to have certain things in a certain way to make this work. And I think that was almost the last time that's kind of happened. I think like the prequels and Lord of the Rings, past that, spectacles really become how much money can we toss at it and how many people can we market it to versus what kind of thing can we make for the cheapest? Like the original Star Wars and Lord of the Rings is like, let's put three movies into one filmmaking like time period and really make this economic. And like, we have time to really focus on these in post-production and do what we want to do. And I think it's a cheaper way to do that as well. The next thing that comes to mind is we've talked about it a little bit, just like Matt and I and a little bit of Jamie on some of these MQ streams have you seen anything about Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon? His kind of answer to Star Wars. He pitched to Disney a rated R Star Wars whenever Disney first bought Star Wars and Lucasfilm. And they were like, sounds cool, but we're Disney. We're not doing rated R Star Wars, especially after we just bought Star Wars. We need to do Star Wars movies first. It's still a question if they ever did that. But anyway, I'm kidding. No, I do love Rogue One. I do love Solo and stuff like that. But beyond that point,
Rogue One was amazing.
I love Rogue One.
I think they were just like, well, let's put out something. And God, it was awesome. It was just awesome.
And Disney's kind of one of those companies that is just tossing money at it to make it awesome. And yes, there are the diamonds in the rough where it is legitimately awesome. But would it be good for them to dial it back? Not even just a little bit, but like a lot. And say, okay, we're going to be not independent filmmakers. We're not going like indie skeleton crew style, but like maybe we should cut everything in half or three quarters. And it kind of hurts talking about this, but think about just like the writer's strike going on versus the box office. The writers keep asking for more money and the box office goes down. Is that because I don't want to put a poo-poo on the writers because I love writing and I'd like to join probably the Writings Guild eventually. But does the lack of craft and more so committee, I feel like everything's done by committee instead of someone's true love for their craft and their work now. And yes, there's still true love for work and craft from writing on to acting. But it's so, okay, you've got to be part of the union here. You got to do this. You got to do that. And it's it's more political than it is actually like enjoyable to make a film a lot of the times.
Yeah.
I feel like that has been one of the main issues, I guess, in all of this that we've been talking about. The box office, the film goers not necessarily being film goers as much as they were, and if it is, it tends to be something like Top Gun was Maverick made a whole bunch of money almost because it was like anti-political. It was like you could literally shoehorn 4, 5, 6 different nations and they all make perfect amount of sense and as the villain. But they don't tell you who the villain is because it allows you to kind of formulate that by yourself, and it just takes the politics out of it, which is nice.
Movie without politics, you knew it could happen.
Yeah. But I mean, without even like legitimately just being politics, I feel like the politicalization of the filmmaking process of like not like red and blue and side versus side. It's more so like this producer versus this studio versus that producer, and it's how it's always been. But has it come to its head in a way?
Well, you were talking about the end of spectacle, and I don't even know how Disney got through Iron Man all the way through Endgame. I mean, that in itself is a miracle. And I think if anything, films. Yeah, it's how did they do that? I mean, that's I don't know if anyone can ever cap that or not. That was an achievement. The thing I think, not speaking about Marvel, but just in general, is direction by committee. Not writing by committee. Well, there's writing by committee too, but direction by committee is, oh my God, just shut the fuck up. It's. I think it's really problematic, and I think there was a lot of that in some of the episode 9 of Star Wars.
What?
Because I mean, if anyone should have had their producer notes read, it was probably been George Lucas. Just saying. I don't want to get your channel demonetized or have it as some sort of hate target. But if there is one person on planet Earth that if you're making a Star Wars movie and you should read the producer's notes, it's probably George Lucas. I'm just saying.
Which we can.
Nice knowing you, Harris.
A whole new comment.
In the next life.
In the next life. Did you see? We do risk ourselves getting in trouble talking about some stuff, but we're already in it. We might as well. Did you see Leslie Headland recently talk about George Lucas?
No, I did not.
She's a great filmmaker, but she's the person that's kind of behind the Acolyte, the new High Republic show that's coming out. That is villain centric. It's like Sith centric. So I'm very excited for it, but I'm also terrified now. I think the cast is great, but she just I'm paraphrasing, so it's not quote unquote by any means. But she said either in the past week or the past 2 weeks that Star Wars needs to move on from George Lucas, and that I don't know. I didn't really make it past that mental thought right there. I was like, what? I was like, what the fuck did you just say? Like, are you shitting me? You got hired for this after saying that? Like, but she got hired for that way before saying that, at least. But it's death by committee. It's so many people think, okay, I'm coming in here, and even the director / showrunner for that is, sorry, this person, George Lucas, created this.
Yeah,
you can't supplant and go in there and take over and then put your flag on top of it. That's just not possible. Like, it's George Lucas is the moon. He's not the flag on top of the moon. He's the moon, And I feel like that's kind of that death by committee. People are just kind of like, yeah, we don't need this one head honcho. Okay, that's the thing she said. She said, if you're not paying attention to what the director is actually saying, and you have to go back and ask George Lucas, oh, okay, is that okay? Like, the director might say something, and then you look to George Lucas for actual confirmation. Yeah. She says that's bad, and I can see where she's coming from. As a director, that would be incredibly frustrating, but at the same time, George Lucas is the brain of all of this, and he's handing his child off to a director.
Yeah.
That director's going to look back and ask for confirmation as well. And if that director's looking back asking for confirmation, any showrunner, anybody that's in the audience shouldn't, or on the film set, putting it like that shouldn't be a bad thing to have to be, George, you like it? Like that should be a good thing. And it's not like he's going to be or at least history hasn't shown him to be the person that's going to like dog you down. He might say a mean comment or two real quick, but he's always quippy. He's not going to sit you down and like have some elongated conversation unless you want to talk about like the lore of Star Wars or the lore of Indiana Jones or Willow or whatever, like something that he really enjoys is. He's going to kind of say, okay, I like this. I don't like this. I think this is all right. This could be better. Whatever it may be. I just wish people appreciated that more. And I don't, I worry. I worry that kind of stuff just makes me worry going forward with how moviegoers' brains are at the moment, how theaters are handling everything as well, and just the creators, if they don't actually love what they're creating. Like I said, Leslie Headland's a great director. I think she just got hired to do one big movie. I don't remember, she won out from like a whole bunch of different people fighting for this one script, and she's going to do it, and that's great. But
I mean, I've heard that before. Right now I'm looking. It was a book that was really, really good, and it was written a bit ago. I'll find it soon. Anyway, but I've heard that before. Like, we need to move beyond George Lucas, you know. And there's this one meme I keep seeing about concerning Star Wars, and it's like, why haven't we made this movie? There's a whole planet of magic using witch zombies. Why haven't we seen a movie about that or something? You know, it's like, ooh, and I didn't even know it was part of canon. So where the hell did this come from?
We did get a nice season about that, or a good arc at least about that in Clone Wars.
Yeah, it was, you know, it was. Let's yeah.
I hope somehow that balance of independent filmmaking and spectacle filmmaking kind of find each other.
Yeah.
And we can start having some really cool movies again, and it'd be because not necessarily one or two people had like this idea and they heralded it all the way up until they were able to put it in theaters. But it's just not. It doesn't have to be like an individual's thought process for the entire time. That's not what I'm saying. But it shouldn't be. All right, well, this committee is making this set of decisions. This committee's making this set of decisions. This committee's making this set of decisions. And before any of these decisions actually go through, make your decisions, and then we'll run it by the board. And then we actually have like, okay, go for it. It makes more sense to just have, hey, George, is that good?
Yeah.
They're not. You know, it's not necessarily one person's thing. But if it is Star Wars per se, that is an individual's child. Like it's there's not a way to say it besides that. Really, it's his child in a lot of ways, and yeah, he's gonna have opinions about it. And honestly, you should probably ask the parents if it's all right most of the time. If like, hey, I'm gonna bring your kid over to the movie theater, or I'm gonna bring your kid out for lunch. You're gonna ask a parent before you do that, or you get in some pretty damn big trouble quickly, because that could go awry very quickly. And yeah, it's a similar situation with George. Is just not ask permission necessarily, but just look for a little nod of approval. That's all. And that goes, I guess, with everything. Just death by committee is terrifying.
It is,
and it could be the death. It's not going to be the death of the film industry, but it feels like the decline of the film industry right now in a lot of ways. Even though box office tends to be that 10 million or more for the top 5, we're seeing it dip down again, and we're seeing it dip down in peak summer. Like we're just past the first 2 weeks of summer, That should be the biggest and best times. People have more free time. They're able to go to the movies.
Mm-hmm.
We should be doing a whole different thing. It should be like minimum of $20 million per top 5, 18, 20, $30 million for top 5. And I don't know exactly what we change, whether it be HD screens, whether it be switching committee and doing it by individuals or tag teams like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck wrote Good Will Hunting or Air or whatever it be.
Yeah.
Or it be like a small little 3, 4, 5 writers that are like, okay, we're gonna get together and write this, and then they present it. Instead of being like a studio asked for thing. If a studio keeps asking for it, I don't know if we need to make it. It should be more what people want to make themselves and bring to studios. I guess that's my final soapbox thought there.
But it's at some point, 100 years from now, I hope they're still cranking out Star Wars material.
Yeah.
And I think it's especially important while we still have George Lucas that we still listen to his sage advice. And I know, he made, A New Hope for kids, that he wanted to be a kids movie.
Mm-hmm.
But because he is so good at what he does, he made a movie for everybody, and
it was a kids movie until the decapitations and hands falling off everywhere.
But. Well, yeah, that probably wasn't first grade fare, but it has. I mean, it is so far beyond what he ever envisioned. He just wanted to do initially just 9 movies, and that was it. He really didn't consider. He knew it was a good movie when he turned in his edit, but I don't think he had any idea. Well, he's admitted he had no clue that it was going to turn out to be the thing that it turned out to be. Oh, the Alan Dean, the book I was talking about, Alan Dean Foster, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, was the book that was. It was an early book. It came out in 1978. It was Foster was given some rough drafts of a novelization of Star Wars, essentially, and he came up with his own story, and he just went on, but it really wasn't part of canon until Star Wars got really big. But it's one of those things that somebody kind of goes off without any producers notice it. Well, here's the general thing, because they wanted Foster, I think, to write the novelization, I think, of Star Wars, but then everything got crazy big.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get this other book, Splinter of the Mind's Eye, which I really loved. And
I think I own it. I don't know if I read it, but I own it, I think.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, it was... So it was just something that Foster had come up with on his own, really without any notes, and it was really good. But I don't think Foster would have thrown anything away that George Lucas had. It's just like this thing, I'll turn this in too, along with this other thing.
That, and then Timothy Zahn did the same thing with the whole Thrawn trilogy, the original one, and I guess coming back in to do Disney's extra trilogy or whatever.
Yeah.
That's we could get on a whole nother video for that.
Dude, that's another 4 hours.
The expanded universe. That could have been, and still could be. I really do think Disney would do themselves a favor, just from all the people that grew up reading these things. Like, did Terry Brooks do like a Phantom Menace novel at some point? I don't know why I have that. I read a lot of Terry Brooks when I was younger. I read like 13, 14.
Maybe. I love Terry Brooks. Sword of Shannara.
I think I have 17 of the Sword of Shannara books, and I think I read all of those, and I didn't get past like the Gypsy Morph. I think was maybe the last one.
The Elf Queen, I think, is the last one I read. But did you ever read Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold?
No, but it's been on my book list for.
Oh, dude, that I want to see that as a TV series. Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold, and there's this little. Is the spoilers tag still up?
Yeah, we can
because probably no one has ever heard of this book. I mean, it was really big when it came out, and then there was something else that took over. It's probably a Lensman book or something. But anyway, there's this really bored banker or investment banker in New York. Hates his life. Doesn't like anything.
Because of the banking or because of New York? Kidding.
I don't know. Dude, I hate New York. I know. Let's just bring all the trouble to your channel today. I hate New York. Can't stand it.
It's okay. I'm from the South. Damn Yankees.
I can handle, the Northeast. Like I can handle Maine and Connecticut with their blueberry pies, but New York City, shoot me in the head. I hate New York. Anyway, there's this banker, this investment dude from New York, and he sees this ad in the paper, Magic Kingdom for sale. And so he meets with this guy, right? And he buys this Magic Kingdom. And he says, well, here's where you go. Here's the entrance. And then, of course, the guy buys it, and there's all this mystery behind it and so forth. But in the book, there's this place in Virginia, I think off the Blue Ridge Parkway, that is in the book where you go to the entrance of the kingdom. And I actually went there one day. So, okay, because I live nearby, kind of. It's like a nice little day trip. And there was a little shrine. And all these, just to the kingdom, that Terry Brooks came up on and he said, where's the fucking entrance? Don't go here. Don't climb the tree. Or it was just an insane little collection of kitschy stuff at near this 1 mile marker off the Blue Ridge Parkway.
I love that.
It's like about a year after it came out. It was just people had actually gone there. And the last I heard of this place, there was. Have you ever heard of geocaching?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there was like a big geocache there that you could go and visit and put shit in. But yeah, that was 3 or 4 books, wasn't it? I think.
Magic Kingdom, or
yeah, that turned out to be like a 3 or 4 book series. I thought.
I'm not sure. I just know it's one of those ones where I've always read like someone should make a film out of this. Someone should make a film out of this, and it's always made me want to read it. And I never gotten around to it.
So if you've got it on your Kindle, just shut up, turn the camera off, and go start reading it because you won't stop. It is a page turner.
Audible in the gym. I love it.
Okay, so yeah, so you got that and Radioland Murders. That's your thing for tonight. There you go.
I got them written down. I come prepared.
Very well.
David just said something. Didn't George Lucas greenlight the Jar Jar character who was so hated that he only got 1 line in the film, or was that someone else who put the dire character in? George Lucas greenlit him, but he got a hell of a lot more than 1 line. He's every single time he's been in there, he's not a main character per se. He's totally a main character throughout the prequel trilogy. He's literally the reason Palpatine gets control of everything.
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, he's also he was hated at the time. People don't necessarily love Jar Jar Binks now still, but there's a very different perspective on him now. Just ask anybody, literally.
Yeah, a friend of mine that is she got her PhD in psychology, and she wanted to marry Jar Jar Binks.
I don't blame her. It'd be entertaining as hell, wouldn't it? Keep you on your toes at all times.
But the bedroom talk? Oh my God! You
got to watch the Clone Wars then, because Jar Jar
he's got to be daddy. No.
Oh, Jar Jar has himself a queen that loves him. That's the thing. Jar Jar, he feels bad for everything he did, but in my little headcanon, he runs back to his queen, and Jar Jar's kinging it up. It's not a bunch of Gungans, but they got something going on. I don't know. It's funny.
Yeah, we're so going to get me demonetized.
Uh-oh. See? Brain pain knows. That's what that queen's looking for.
Oh God, brain pain. Jesus.
What he shoots his frog out. He shoots his tongue out like a frog and gets some flies at the beginning of Phantom Menace, I think, is one of the first things he does, and Liam Neeson just looks at him like, "What the hell are you doing?" I love that look. It's just, but yeah, so I mean, we've covered mostly everything, so we'll end it with something simple.
We've ended it on Jar Jar Binks's oral sex techniques. Yeah, that's where we've ended this.
Special tongue. What's that tongue do, Jar Jar? There we are. That's what I'm looking for. Misa. Oh God. So we've got some films coming out this week.
Yes, there's films. God help us. There's films coming out. Let's talk about that, please.
And we could talk about tongues coming out too. Oh God, fireworks are coming out. It sounds more like pistol shots, but there are some fireworks.
Well, it's Jesus.
Oh no, okay. I see. I live in the right neighborhood where I gotta wait to actually tell or not.
Oh, okay.
I told you it's been sounding like a war zone. Wrecked cars, fireworks, and mariachi music constant. It's been fun. But
oh, dear God. So anyway,
films are coming out this weekend. Do you have any interest in any of them? We'll say interest, no interest, or
Bad Girl Boogie.
This is limited and video on demand, so it won't be everywhere.
No, it's just
it doesn't really have any names that are recognizable. And years after Mother was brutally murdered in a killing spree by a psychopath. See, I'm already not interested, actually.
Yeah, I mean, that's just the news.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, Bad Girl Boogie. I'm giving you, if we're going with our game from yesterday, thumbs down. I'm not going to check it out. Sorry. We'll go a thumbs up for I'll check it out to I could to nah. Because it's more fun to have those nah and yeah and yeah. Well, we can Harrison Ford grunt it, you know. So this is Once Upon a Time in Uganda, also a limited release. It's Welcome to Wakaliwood, the Wakaliga. There we go, Wakaliga village outside of Uganda's capital and birthplace of the over-the-top, no-budget action movies produced by maverick Ugandan filmmaker Isaac Nabwana. What? That doesn't give me a description of the film at all. It just tells me that the guy that's making it is dubbed, I guess, Africa's Tarantino.
Oh dear, just no.
But how is he Africa's Tarantino if he's produced 40 plus films and Tarantino won't even make more than 10? I have questions now.
Tarantino doesn't want to make more than 10 movies.
No, yeah, this is the last one. The movie critic's going to be his last one, supposedly, allegedly.
Hey, did you ever get to the Museum of Western Film up near Lone Pine? It's got it's got the wagon from Django and his signed script, and it's a movie museum about Westerns. And it's also got everything that's been filmed in the Owens Valley. It's in like Lone Pine, I think it is. And it's got a lot of Tarantino stuff in it. It's also got some of the monsters from Tremors. It's got some exhibits from Iron Man, like when they set off the Django rockets. That's all in the Owens Valley. You got to get. It's a day trip. It's a day trip.
I'll take it. We'll do a fun video for the channel or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It's definitely worth it. Okay, so back to Sound of Freedom. Okay, so Once Upon a Time in Uganda. That's a rip off of one of Tarantino's movies.
I'm gonna go.
Dude, you're so there. I gave it 2 thumbs down.
Yeah, reading it at first, I was thinking this to this, and then after that, I just kind of went, huh. You know. Yeah. Okay, Sound of Freedom though. Hey, July 4th is the day that, based on an incredible true story, shines a light on even the darkest of places. After rescuing a young boy from ruthless child traffickers, a federal agent learns the boy's sister is still captive and decides to embark on a dangerous mission. Hey, Jim Caviezel. He's not playing Jesus this time, but I like Jim Caviezel. So
the question is, would I pay to go see it in a theater, or would I wait for streaming, or do I just not care about it at all?
Yeah, well, this is going to be our wait for streaming. This will be theater, and this is like, still kind of the same stuff.
I
I'm more kind of waiting for streaming there. It is limited, so it might be one that like maybe I could see because LA tends to get a lot of like the limited things, but it's not one that kind of jumps out at me. Warhorse 1 though, video on demand / digital, that's kind of available everywhere already. But after a SEAL team of helicopters down during a rescue mission in Afghanistan, the lone surviving operator must evade hostile insurgents and navigate through rough terrain to guide the one living civilian, a traumatized child, to safety.
I would wait. I would definitely. That's a streamer.
I'm somewhere between this and this because I saw Kandahar in movie theaters and then I saw The Covenant in movie theaters. So we've gotten some good war movies this year, but with it going straight to VOD, it kind of makes me think maybe those war movies were passed around from a couple different studios, and then one of these studios is kind of like, all right, well, we're gonna make like the B version of it. That's just my gut instinct there.
That saving a kid, I'll give it a chance.
Internet says in Revenge of the Sith, Jar Jar has no dialogue except a brief "excuse me" at one point. No, he literally addresses the Senate and secedes power. I don't know. Jar Jar's pivotal. Jar Jar's very pivotal in the prequel trilogy, and he does have like it's not like the longest of speeches, but he does have that like speech to give. Secede power to
propose that the Senate. Yeah. So anyway, Warhorse 1.
I'll give it a. So this one, Disney Plus, Kizazimoto Generation Fire. Oh, a new series and an original anthology of short films. I don't know what that's about. It doesn't give me a bunch of information, but I do like Disney short films, so.
I'd watch the first 1 or 2 episodes, see how it is.
Yeah, and it's on Disney Plus, so it's not like we're really paying outside what we typically pay anyway. So I'd give it a thumbs up for the sake of it.
So Wham, I have heard good things of. It's a not a really it's a docudrama about the band Wham and how they got together. And I've heard, I think it's Rolling Stone. I read something about this movie. They said it was like really good. So
really?
Wham.
If
you like if you like Rocket Man and those kinds of films. What's the one that was with Lady Gaga? It was
the one where she sings. A Star Is Born.
Star Is Born. Yeah. If you like those kinds of films, then.
Because I like Wham. I'm a fan of Wham, so that might be good. And it's Netflix, so I'll give it a thumbs. I like it. Now we're into like some more actual like
in theater stuff.
Yeah, wide release everything. These are our 2 big wide releases this weekend: are Insidious: The Red Door and Joyride. I've already seen this one, but Insidious: The Red Door. Are you going to go see the 5th Insidious?
I'm not in much in the horror movies.
I love horror movies.
But now there's one film that kind of ruined it for me. It was, what the hell was it? It was Hostel. I think it was the 3rd Hostel. And, it was so over the top. It was so crazy. It's just the only thing that the film was missing was rib sauce. It is just like, I get it. It's just to jolt you and give you a thrill, but it was so lacking of story. It's like, the last few horror films I've seen in theaters were like this, and it's like, I'm just done.
Huh? Yeah, I haven't seen anything about Hostel. I thought you were talking about Hostels for a second. That Christian Bale movie where he's escorting a bunch of natives to like back to their place and stuff. That's great.
This is like HOSTEL, as in like these little hotels or whatever for young people to travel. So there's like this setup. You go rent this hostel, then you're kidnapped and you get shuttled off and you're tortured and people eat your thigh and there's just
that sounds like it could be good, but it also sounds like it could be cheesy as hell.
The first one was good.
Yeah.
The second was third. By the time we got to the third, it was following a trend of just stupid over the top. horror movies. It was just
There's ways to do over the top good as well, especially in horror. Like
yeah.
I don't know if you've seen Terrifier or Terrifier 2. I haven't seen the second one. I've only seen bits of the first one, but it's known for being that like it's like a clown, and he's just murdering. It's super bloody. There's a lot of stuff going on, but it does it very well, even with that over the topness. And I guess there's ways to do that. Insidious has always kind of been over the top in its own little like way, I guess. Well, not really. I guess the first one's really not over the top. I feel like the second and third might get into that a little bit. I don't think I ever saw the fourth one. I'm intrigued about this one though, just because Patrick Wilson is directing it, and it's his directorial debut.
Really?
And, he's been in almost half a dozen Insidiouses. He's been in almost, I think, 3 Conjuring, and he's been in so many other little horror movies and other things. He's worked alongside James Wan, who's helping him produce this, of course, still, because James Wan does all the Insidiouses. But that's probably my biggest draw, is that Patrick Wilson is directing it. I don't know if that's a big enough draw to make me want to go see it in theaters, though. And then I haven't seen the fourth one. So, you know me, I'll go see a movie almost all the time, anytime. The only thing that keeps me from like going to see something is like I am really. Oh, look, I still have the spoilers thing up. I just realized that.
I guess we really can't have spoilers on films that's not been released.
Not yet. Well, actually, we could, because I have seen Joyride, but oops.
What did you think about Joyride? Because I was kind of interested in that.
Well, okay.
It's a comedy, right?
Yes. Okay. Insidious, I'm going to go ahead and give it a almost there. Almost there, but halfway. Right. Joyride, though, I don't know if I only have 2 thumbs. I need another thumb. It was the funniest shit I've seen in movie theaters this year.
Really?
It's either Joyride or The Blackening is the funniest thing. And the Blackening was also absolutely hilarious because it subverts tropes purposefully, and it's beautiful. It's great. But Joyride does the same thing in a lot of ways, and it kind of falls into tropes and does them in a really good way versus like you expecting them to like turn it on its head or something.
Right.
And it's not like straightforward in a boring way at all. But it's a good story. It's got a great freaking cast. Sherry Cola is like the realistic version of Awkwafina. Awkwafina, just the girl with like the raspy voice and stuff.
Yeah,
she has a very similar voice. This Sherry Cola actress, that's her name. I like her stage name. She's chosen a good one.
But I saw that somebody also said is akin to it's like the Asian version of Bridesmaids.
Oh, and it's not necessarily a wedding going on. It's like a business trip instead.
Oh, okay.
But it is very similar in that aspect. And oh my god, like in our out of theater reaction, it was funny because it was me and 3 other buddies of mine, and 3 of us look like this. We're about as wide as can be, And our other buddy who got the tickets to like bring us, he's Singaporean, and it was like, okay, we're gonna go check this out. And we're walking in there. I like the cast. I'm open to movies, so I was more excited than the other 2. One of my other friends was like, okay, and then one guy was like, okay, this one better be funny, And that motherfucker was out of his chair laughing by the end of it, which was great. Like we literally had every kind of level of, nah, this isn't gonna be that good. It better be good to, it could be, to me, kind of being like happy, optimistic, like, oh, I hope it's good, And then my Singaporean buddy was like, this is going to be good. I like everybody in this. Like, it's going to be good. And we all just adored it. We saw an early screening in Austin, and it was fun. It was really fun. It's the cast. I don't know. I can't say that much about it besides the cast without starting to spoil stuff. That was a big firework. I don't know if you heard that one.
I thought you dropped your shoes on the floor.
No, that'd be more of a big no. Yeah.
Oh, your flip flops, right.
Yeah, I shouldn't be wearing flip flops, but I am. It's summer. It's hot. Yeah, no, Joyride though, it gets all the thumbs from me because I'll probably go see it again just for the sake of seeing it. Just because all of my friends that I saw it with are in Austin right now or
Right.
elsewhere, so I gotta get all my LA folk to go see it. Which isn't gonna be that difficult, but it'll be fun nonetheless. Because it legitimately was a lot of fun. It's a good movie. It's sweet, but it's funny as hell. And it's Stephanie Sue. I think besides Sherry Cola, Stephanie Sue or Sue. I don't remember exactly how to say it. The girl that played the daughter and Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
She's one of the main characters in there, and god damn, is it all good? It's so funny off of each other.
So
Those two characters. The what?
Put that on my watch list.
Yeah. Those two characters, Stephanie Sue and Sherry Cola. That kind of like Stephanie Sue kind of plays that like, I'm your preppy little girl that like does everything right. She's like an actress in the show and everything. So she's like, I'm on movie sets. I do everything right. And Sherry Cola with the raspy kind of voice and everything. She kind of does the tonal opposite. Those two, I think they kind of pair up in the movie at certain times. And please just give us more movies with them. Honestly, those two would be great together and everything. I loved it. We'll finish this off real quick though. I don't think any other things. Yeah, the last couple are all limited, so we'll kind of speed through. There's one Netflix, but we'll speed through these real quick, huh?
Okay. I have no idea what Biosphere. I saw a trailer for it yesterday, and it's like, what?
Mark Duplass and Sterling K. Brown are lifelong best friends, brothers, and from another mother, and the last two men on Earth. Their survival is largely due to Ray, a brilliant scientist who designed a dome structure with all the systems necessary to sustain life on a planet that could. Our sci-fi selves, I'm giving that a thumbs up,
Yeah, I mean, it just the trailer wasn't very good, I didn't think, because you don't get, there's like these two dudes in the Biosphere, and is this a comedy? Because, I mean, is this a Brendan Fraser kind of remake of something? But because there's the original Biosphere, and I think they actually did another one or whatever with what's his name, the comedian? Never mind. Brendan Fraser, and let me just go look it up.
Biosphere. I will Google fast. 2022 film. No. Movie. Oh no, not 2022. I'm not getting one besides the 2022 one.
Let's see.
Original movie. There we go. Oh, what? Oh, Biosphere 2 in 1991 was that might be it. Maybe.
I'm looking.
Maybe.
I think he was in it. I think it's before The Mummy.
Oh. Yeah, this one's starring John Dolphin Allen and Rue McClanahan.
Oh, right. Oh, see, hang on a second.
Huh. I'm not sure.
Biodome. Right. It was
who else was in it?
Stephen Baldwin. Right.
Oh, okay, nice.
Biodome.
I give Biodome and Biosphere both thumbs up. I would check them out. Amanda, though, what is that right here? It's also a limited release. Born into an upper-class family with a doting mother who foots the bill for her indolent lifestyle, 24-year-old combative Amanda searches for boyfriends but only finds misfits who are repelled by her intensity. She longs for a connection but has never had a friend. That sounds like it could be good, but it's just not. That doesn't seem like one I'd jump to go buy a ticket for,
No, I would not go to the ticket.
So I'm going with on streaming maybe.
So I'm looking at movieinsider.com, the 2023 movies, and there's a couple that is coming out that look kind of good.
The which one?
I'm looking on the page that you're looking at. I'm looking a little bit farther down. You know, I think looking at some of the stuff that they've got up. Where'd it go? Flood, League, Burstone, Channel, YouTube Effect, Final Cut, Black. So coming out in a week or so, Lakota Nation versus United States. That it's with Mark Ruffalo in it. It's kind of a docudrama, but I'd like to see. I think it's going to come streaming. It's in limited release, so it'll show up in your neighborhood.
Okay.
Oppenheimer, dying to see that. That's going to be in theaters July 21st.
I already have a ticket for it.
Do you really? Okay, good. I'm going to avoid Barbie.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just yeah, just
so you're not going to be part of Barbenheimer?
I'm never coming on a stream with you ever again.
Have you not seen all that stuff?
No, okay. So I saw one. She's in the car. There's a nuclear cloud behind her, and JFK is slumped over in the back seat. And it's like, what the fuck is this shit about? And
I haven't seen that one, but the marketing stuff is great. The black and the pink, just tonal opposites of like death versus Barbie is great. It kills me.
Yeah, it's.
Tom Cruise said, because he's trying to push both films kind of down a little bit right now, so Mission Impossible 7 will get all big.
Right.
He was like, I'm gonna go see both still. So he's trying to like cross promote kind of deal. He's like, I'm gonna go see Oppenheimer on Friday and Barbie on Saturday. Ooh, I like that idea, David. I get distracted very quickly. I'm Barbenheimer. That's the word. I'm gonna Barbenheimer it. But I think I'm gonna do the same thing, but I'm gonna do it all in one day. I'm gonna movie the hell out of that day and just
Oh my god,
blow my brains with pink glitter and nuclear bombs. But are you not intrigued by Barbie? Because it seems more like it's Mattel's version of 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know?
No.
Have you seen the trailers for it?
Yes, and that's the primary reason I didn't want to. Yeah, I mean it's it's just not my. It's just no.
I hope it's good. I trust the writers. Just before we just finish off all these little thumbs. I almost ended up keeping Jay for like an extra time yesterday because I said it at the very end. He was like, "Okay, I'm logging off, guys." And then I said this. He was like, "What?" Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach, the two people writing it. Are you familiar with their work? Greta Gerwig's, she did Lady Bird, Little Women, and she's done a few other things. She's a great actress as well. But those are like the things she's directed so far. And then Noah Baumbach directed Marriage Story. It's something about a whale. I can't think of what it's called right now. Jeff Daniels is in it. It's great. But both great writers, both directors. They're together as a couple. I don't know if they're married or just like coupled up or whatever. But they're a good writing team. So I'm really excited for Barbie just because of that aspect of it.
Yeah.
But because Barbie's expected to be successful to a degree, I guess, people have already started hiring Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach for more things. So what do you think about the fact that I believe it's both of them writing these, but not one, but two films Greta Gerwig has been directed or been tapped to direct, and those films are that was just terrible grammar. I just have to acknowledge I threw grammar out the window in those last couple sentences. But Greta Gerwig has been hired to direct not one, but two Chronicles of Narnia films.
Really?
Yes.
I'd like to see some good Chronicles of Narnia films.
I'd love to. My only hesitation, because like I said, I adore both of them as a screenwriting duo and their own individual careers. Neither one of them have talk about spectacle. Neither one of them have really tackled spectacle before. Barbie is going to be their first time tackling quote unquote spectacle, even though I don't expect it to be like truly like a spectacle film, you know. it should have some great ornate sets and stuff like that, but it's not going to be like some Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, Avatar kind of thing, or anything huge, where Chronicles of Narnia, if you do it right, should be something like that, and it should feel like that. That's my only hesitation, but any thoughts on just the little bit about them? Just kind of excited? More Chronicles?
Definitely, it's definitely excited. I mean, I'd like to the last Chronicle of Narnia, the third film. I was not that jazzed about. It could have been so much better, but I think it had too much meddling from the studio, to be honest. It kind of skated away from C.S. Lewis's own. It
didn't feel C.S. Lewisy at all.
It wasn't the actors. I think the actors did a fabulous job, but I think it was just don't know what the hell was going on. It was a mediocre movie, I thought, and I hope they get the clout to be able to ignore the producer notes, the studio notes.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice. Because I do enjoy Prince Caspian a lot. I see how the studio notes kind of did take some parts away from that one. But I still really enjoy Caspian. Voyage of the Dawn Treader it has a good cast, and that's about it. Because even their acting isn't as good because you can tell they weren't having as good of a time, which kind of sucks, But with this, would you want them to hop back in, starting at Lion and the Witch and the Wardrobe, or would you rather? Jamie yesterday was saying it's the Magician's Chair and what's the other one that technically started off? Something like that. Would you rather? Because keep going.
I'd like to see him start with the Magician's Chair, because it's once somebody's ruined a movie, it's not fair to the directors to try the next pair of directors or whatever to come up, or the next filmmaking group to come by and try to fix all that and recreate it. I mean, that's done a few times in filmmaking, but don't put all that on somebody. I'd rather just see a new movie with that's not trying to repair somebody else's. It's like the remake of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh yeah.
Just, but thinking about it and what all we've discussed, I would really like to see another Fast and Furious movie directed by George Lucas.
Hey, I have in my notes, I have a whole elevator pitch for my own Fast and Furious spinoff I've come up with for years. I won't say it here, but if I'm ever in an elevator with Vin Diesel, I'm pitching that, and I'm pitching George Lucas directing it.
Yeah, and I want to see it on Tatooine.
Oh,
and they're all but the real
no. Now you're making me a flashback from Book of Boba Fett. Not the Vespas, the Vespas.
Right, and it's there's some hijinks on Boonta Eve, and there's only one group of guys that can fix this shit. And it's the original characters, Vin Diesel, and Michelle. It's just the original cast, their original names. No one's a Jedi, but it's on fucking Tatooine, directed by George Lucas on Boonta goddamn Eve.
I can see Tyrese just saying, "How the hell did we get here? Do we cross through space and time and something?" And Vin Diesel just goes, "Family." That's the only way. They travel through space and time.
That's family. The damn name. It's Fast and Furious Family, And of course Tyrese, he's got the only bright fluorescent green land speeder. In the whole thing. Would it just be awesome though? I mean, it makes no sense. No one would have the courage or the willpower to even write studio notes for that when it's so goddamn insane.
Could someone make a Fast and Furious Spaceballs?
Oh God! Well, the last one was none of that.
The ninth one was kind of similar, but truly Spaceballs, Fast and Furious, it'd be great.
Yeah, dude. That should be the title of this video now. It's just
Spaceballs and Furious.
Fast and Furious on Tatooine, directed by George Lucas. Or use this as a clip. Just use this whole thing as just a clip. Put it up there. Yeah.
This is going to be like our new trailer channel, or new channel trailer, however you say that.
It's just going to be a disaster. But I'd love to see it, though. I would pay real money. I would get the biggest bucket of popcorn just to see this in the theater. I mean, Fast and
You forgot the giant dab I would take prior to going to see it. I would be looking like I did on stream right about this time. Because that was not pretty. I was like,
oh, dude.
Oh, God. Like we were doing this essentially, but like we were trying to go through the top 25 films of the first half of the year. And,
right.
We hadn't seen most of the films because if I hadn't seen most of the damn films on that list, Matt's more of a general moviegoer. He's not going to go see the indies, and he's not going to go see all these little different things. I hadn't seen 80% of those things, so we were just kind of like, all right, what the hell's this?
What the hell's this?
It was great. It was bad, but it was great.
I'm totally serious, man. I've got to see Fast and the Furious Family, directed by George Lucas, and it's on Tatooine.
Ooh, we could we need a Princess Leia type in there, and then they could call it the Ferris and the Furious, and they could be having to like rescue Princess Leia or something.
Put every single trope on there you can possibly deny.
We're giving the studios too many bad things to be like. We gave them too many good ideas earlier about, okay, maybe we should fix this up, be more economical, do all this, and we're like now just saying, screw it, toss all the money at it. Spaceball, Fast and Furious,
right? Yeah, that is such an that is. Honestly, I haven't touched any peyote buttons. There's none from New Mexico.
Hey, you're in New Mexico.
Yeah,
in any corner.
But honest to God, I mean, as he's David B. rise to the rescue. Somebody just needs to tell us to stop. I mean, that's just all there is to it. I mean, we're so far down the rabbit hole now. When we've got Fast and the Furious by Lucas on Tatooine on Boonta Eve. Thumbs up.
The Boonta Eve aspect of it makes it that much better.
Oh yeah.
Again, I don't have enough thumbs for this. I need more.
How could you go wrong? What could possibly go wrong?
And while we're on Jar Jar, real quick, he addresses the Senate in 2, but then he speaks to the Senate in 2, but he addresses the Senate as a senator in the 3rd one. Right? I see a Stormy.
Oh, there's the love of my life. Hello, Adam. Boy, did you come in at the wrong time. We're discussing there needs to be, this is a movie you and I have to go see. There needs to be another episode of Fast and the Furious, right? But
and the Furious.
Huh?
The Ferris and the Furious.
You leave me alone. In Fast and the Furious, right? But it's directed by George Lucas. It happens on Tatooine, and they've kidnapped like somebody or family or whatever.
They've kidnapped Ludacris.
Yes, and so that's where we're going. That's what we need to go see. Yes, and we're going to call it Fast and Furious Family. That's going to be it, right?
It's a whole franchise.
Yeah, I swear to God, after this franchise, they're totally going to demonetize your channel now.
Oh, they'll be all right as long as we're good. I think the only thing that can do that is see you next Tuesday, but we're okay. Oh, it's 0 out of 10.
Yeah, she's not having it. I don't think that's date night.
That's not a date night movie? I thought it'd be great.
Doesn't sound like it from now. Oh, dear God. Dude.
I love it. You want to finish up these last couple, which I don't think we're going to know that much about, but real quick.
Crusades.
What's up next? The pursuit for many, high school is supposed to be defined by wild parties, backseat hookups, and devil-may-care attitude. But when 3 friends at Our Lady of the Crusades, an all-boys high school, receives earth-shattering news about an upcoming merger with their rivals, they have to make a pact to have one last something, which means I guess I'm going to go no. which
That sounds like Fast Times at Catholic school.
yeah, that sounds like why would they be worried about if it's a bunch of dudes in high school? They would be happy about merging schools with an all-female school or something.
Yeah,
Like one last night of fun. That sounds. I don't. Nah, sorry. That was not it.
See Porky's 4, if you recognize
What?
that. Never mind.
Another limited. The league celebrates the dynamic journey of Negro League Baseball's triumphs and challenges through the first half of the 20th century. The story is told through previously unearthed archival footage and never before seen interviews with legendary players like Satchel Paige and Buck O'Neil. Hey, anybody with O'Neil?
I like it. I mean, I'm not nowhere near a baseball fan. That does sound really good. That's a thumbs up for me.
I am not a baseball fan, but I tend to like baseball like movies, if that makes sense.
No, but that's okay. Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make sense after I said it either. I don't have much logic behind that one, but it just happens to be a thing, Richard E. Grant, Daryl McCormick, okay. Julie Delpy, okay. This is another limited release. The Lesson. Liam, an aspiring and ambitious young writer, eagerly accepts a tutoring position at the family estate of his idol, renowned author J.M. Sinclair. But soon, Liam realizes that he is ensnared in a web of family secrets, resentment, and whatever else it says.
Wait, no, a lot of these are seeming just like they're, a lot of these are just seeming like, let's get them in the theaters for limited release so we qualify for all the awards.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of these probably are, and that's what a lot of limited releases
so it looks like there's a lot of stuff we really wouldn't go out of our way to see. Yeah. I mean, just looking at it on my webpage.
I'd check it just because it's like, if I see in a movie theater this weekend, because I've already seen Joyride, I might go see the Lesson if I can find it in one near me. That might be that kind of case scenario, but it's not one that I would typically, I guess, seek. Yeah. Would you give it a half up?
Nah, it's not something. Yeah, it's a lot of these things. It's in limited release. I have absolutely no interest in.
Yeah, the reason I like my Criterion collections. I like all that kind of stuff too. I'll go to these things just because a lot of the time it's like a passion project for the actor or something.
Right.
That's nice, but half the time they're not good because of that, and the other half the time they're amazing. But it's that 50-50. It's a complete hit or miss there. You're like, well. And speaking of, here comes another a Netflix with Adam Devine. Oh, Pierce Brosnan too.
Well,
Michael Rooker, I like that cast a lot. Owen Browning is a straight-laced bank manager about to marry the love of his life, Parker. When his bank is held up by the infamous ghost bandits during his wedding week, he believes his future in-laws, who just arrived in town, are the infamous outlaws. That actually sounds fun.
Well, that's
almost up, I guess.
I'd wait for streaming. Oh, it's on Netflix, so I don't have. Yeah, so.
It's one that I'm not going to watch it opening weekend probably just because it's on Netflix and like that. And honestly, I still need to watch Extraction too if I'm going to watch a Netflix movie. So I wouldn't give it a this just yet, but I wouldn't necessarily put it halfway, but close to it. I like the cast though. This seems to be the last one. Another limited documentary film from Alex Winter. Oh, I love Alex Winter. Good old Bill and Ted. Explores the ascension and acceleration of YouTube, a video sharing website that started with the humble origins and has now gone on to change how we experience the world.
Since we're on YouTube talking about, Fast and the Furious family, directed by George Lucas, the genius filmmaker.
Of course.
On Tatooine during Boonta Eve.
With more Jar Jar. Which
no, that's it. They somebody heist the Boonta Eve prize, right? And so they have to go get it for the Hutts. That's it. That's your elevator pitch, young man. Hit that
jarring event with Jar Jar.
David, you're not making this any better. You're actually making it worse, which I didn't think was possible.
I think you're making it great. I love it.
Oh my God.
You're pissing me off with Jar Jar stuff at times, and then you're like making me laugh the other pissed offery off, which is the great part. Because I swear there's Jar Jar in the third one. Like, you're not actually pissing me off. That's not the right term. I'm joking, but like Jar Jar does secede powers to the Senate in the third one. I swear. I might be going crazy. I wouldn't be surprised, but things happen. I figured it out.
What is it?
It's no longer Movie Monday on here. The people that stayed to the end of the stream from the beginning have got to be just so proud of my tech savviness.
Bored. That's what they're bored.
Maybe. I did like this. Well, David has been bringing in some great ideas too. Change ticket or skip it to ticket skip it or stream it. Ticket skip. If I can even say the damn words all together.
You're going to have to be clean for 3 days straight. Say that straight. I'm just sorry. No more.
That's the thing. I haven't smoked anything today. If I start slowing down my words, that's how you know my ADD self is not just kicking normally. The ganja calms the brain down. It's beautiful. Oh. Sometimes it calms it down too much, like on stream yesterday, where I was like, I don't know this movie. Sure. It was bad. It was funny though. It was pretty.
Before you reviewed every movie with coma.
With what?
With the word coma in the name.
I should just start doing like full reviews and then like smoke at the very beginning and keep smoking until I just fall asleep at the end, and then we'll wake up and then end the stream.
No, what you should do is you pitch it as you're going to review 4 movies. You start off taking a big hit and you fall asleep after the first, and then you just sleep for the next hour sorry, we woke up, we're so thank you for watching our 4 reviews, and then you just sign off.
Are you familiar with the comedian Joey Diaz, Uncle Coco?
Oh God, yes.
Oh, good. Have you ever seen his podcast? He doesn't really do them anymore, but Uncle Joey's Joint, I think is what he called him.
I may have seen 1 or 2, maybe.
Okay. So he's kind of got his like second in command, like his helper, like his buddy that is like always there. I don't remember the guy's name. It's something Lee. I think it's a B. It's not Bobby Lee. Obviously, that's a whole different comedian. But I think it's not. It's something Lee, and he just goes by Lee most of the time, or maybe it's Lee something. Anyway, it's Joey and Lee, and Joey Diaz eats edibles that would kill me, and I've got a great tolerance, and I eat edibles not frequently, but it's not an infrequent thing either. So I can handle myself just fine. Joey Diaz type of edibles would destroy me. If you see Lee on some of those streams, Joey's like, oh, you need like another 2,000 milligrams. Hands him an edible, and then you just cut back to him a couple minutes later after Joey's done talking about something, and he's just he's been on streams where he's had to like run him by himself after Joey leaves, or Joey's like, hey, streamers, do this or something, and he'll fall asleep on stream and then wake up again later on stream, realize where he is, but not really realize where he is. It's so good. He's just because it's that complete deep sleep. Just
well, there was one thing that Jamie and I did in one episode of Sidetrack, I think. He invited one of his friends on, and we're talking about Star Trek. And one of his friends was like drunk. He used a Sharpie to put these little face spots like Jadzia had on his face, passed out on cam, and was snoring. And we're going, what? I mean, what the fuck? And it was just, and I told, I was typing to Jamie off camera, oh, keep it on. This is the best video ever.
It's just mute the microphone.
Yeah, and it was just with these spots all over, just sauced off his ass, man. It was just hysterical. It's somewhere. I'm sure it's still somewhere in his library, but it was
on the interwebs somewhere. Oh yes. God. I don't know. I just love that kind of stuff. It's great whenever someone's like, also like I've seen it where people are like, I'm going to do a 24-hour charity stream. About 13 hours into it, they're just like, hey, nope. They just go out.
Yeah.
Just hoping for something. Oh, it's funny. It's funny. That's kind of all I've got for today, though, huh? You
We've
have
only
anything else you want to talk about?
Dude, my throat is hoarse. we've only been at it for 2 hours.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was
usually
expecting another 3 hours of Fast and Furious on Tatooine.
Oh, dude, no shit. And if we're going to go back to that, we can go for hour 3. But usually I can get Jamie an extra half hour of just, jabbering on. Usually he just wants to do an hour show. I can usually keep him for an hour and a half. But, dude, we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes.
I started these streams by myself a couple months ago, I guess. And I can monologue by myself if I got a good point. And I'd usually last between 38, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour. I try to hit the hour mark. And then Jamie was like, just use the StreamYard and attach MCubed and do some stuff. And since then, we've been hitting 2 hours just on the mark every time. And it's been fun. I usually don't stream this long, but it's helping the channel out little bit by little bit, which is nice. And it's just fun to ramble on for 2 hours.
Seriously, you got to cut the stuff with Fast and Furious family. That's its own show. That's a whole other clip, man. Just put it up there tomorrow. Well, and that's the title. Will George Lucas, direct the next?
As clickbaity as possible. It's like George Lucas to direct the next Fast and Furious.
Shit out of it.
All caps.
Yeah, all caps. Right.
Should we do it, y'all?
Put Vin Diesel, in an X-wing helmet. And let her rip, man. See?
Vin Diesel in the X-wing helmet or like a Jedi robe? Which one better?
Oh, no, X-wing. X-wing helmet.
Okay, because the robe goes a little more Riddicky, I guess. But
yeah, that's a whole Riddick. That's polished eyeballs. No, that's just we're Fast and Furious.
What if Riddick meets everybody on Tatooine? The family's already there. And then Riddick comes in. That family brought them through space and time. Could family bring a multiversal version of
That's the next one. That's the next movie.
All right, we have the spin-off franchise
Yeah, Fast and Furious on Tatooine. Let's do one movie, right? And then that's the next one. Is this, we get Riddick involved.
As long as Katie Sackhoff's involved, I'm there.
and if we can have like a Riddick, Jabba the Hutt bar fight, fucking A. Yeah, that's what we got to do. Totally, yeah.
It'd be perfect.
My girlfriend will never probably speak with me again, but yeah.
She's just like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
Oh my God, what did you do? What are you doing? The hell, Stormy, Jesus.
But we might have gone on for a while, but I had a damn good time. This was fun. It's always fun.
It was so fun. Jamie's going to be mad that he missed it.
Yeah, really. I will, just before I end the broadcast, I did the epitome of stone dumbassery yesterday. And I don't know how many of y'all noticed. I should go back on the end of the stream to check. But I was so baked after going through those movies yesterday, and my mind was so okay, just in the stream, you've lost all enthusiasm because you're just half falling asleep here. And I know Matt's not enjoying it either. I was like, it's time to go. But the thing I did instead of ending the damn broadcast was I just left the studio.
You mean just let it keep going?
No, Matt. I immediately joined back in after I realized what I'd done because I saw, broadcast is still going. So Matt, I think, just pressed in broadcast, but there's got to be. I need to look it up from yesterday, but there's got to be a 3, 4, 5 seconds of Matt just being like,
"Oh dear Lord."
I immediately just logged back in. I had all my enthusiasm that I'd lost gotten right back because of that, but. It was already ended, so it was fine. Yes. It's a new show called Baked Off. You just gave me 3 or 4 ideas. I'm not gonna say them out loud. Actually, I might, but no. Let me ponder a little bit, because I've got an idea or two from that.
Let him dab it up. It needs to be dabbed up.
Look at David, you're my unofficial producer now. You're just coming up with cool segments. But I do like that ticket or skip it turned into ticket, skip it, stream it, or ticket, stream it, or skip it. No, you
Ticket,
can't add or ticket, stream it, skip it, or ticket, skip it, stream it. That's my final thing for everybody in the comments. should we do ticket, skip it, stream it, or ticket, stream it, skip it? Let me know.
Now I've got a headache. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. But that is us. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you all for everybody that comes in after the fact and is just watching this on reruns. Stormy Bear, my friend.
Hello, here I am.
Do is kind of like say, hey, where can people find you? Obviously, we got Cyworks and Sidetrek. Say those again and spell them out if I guess people want them. But anywhere
else. If you want to see a lot of my science stuff, best places, I do a lot of science stuff on Twitter at Stormbear, STORMBEAR. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do with the the Cyworks channel.
Yeah.
Because I'm working all the time, but I'm trying to get my life settled into some sort of semblance of normalcy. So I could restart those, but they're going to be, I think, completely different things than what they were.
Okay.
But you want to reach out on Twitter still at Stormbear. Anywhere else, it's just like friends and family, and I don't want to talk to you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm going to totally ignore you on Facebook because I fucking hate Facebook. God, Jesus.
The only place you can find Stormy on Facebook is the Sidetrack group chat. So go to
that's essentially true. It's worth my time to go to the Sidetrack chats and then leave immediately.
That's essentially how I use Facebook now. I just go for Sidetrack and I'm out. Maybe some family stuff or something, like if I see someone that I know, but that's it. I'm in and out now. But y'all follow Stormy. Y'all already follow Stormy. If you don't, what are you doing?
What do you feel like?
This man's not only hilarious and great at everything he does, talking movies and stuff, but he legitimately is building the foundations for the next step of civilization. In a way,
I build spaceships.
I will make you sound more grandiose than you'll ever allow your humble.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And I think you have a career as being the ringleader of a 3-ring circus, which you already kind of are.
I like me some circuses. I'm prepared.
Oh, that was one point. Just trying to stretch this out as long as possible. That was one point I was going a legitimate point I was going to make concerning, do you stream it? Do I wait to stream it? Do I want to actually put my money into go to a movie theater? These days, I'd rather go see a live performance. I do like to go see a play or a ballet or an orchestra or or hell, even an opera. I would rather do that than go to a theater because those experiences I can't get in my home. And because of the way streaming is and the lackluster environment of a movie theater. I mean, yeah, it's got a big screen, but unless it's a really special movie, I'd rather go see some sort of live performance as opposed to sit in the theater. That was the only thing I forgot to say.
No, that makes perfect sense. I hope there's a way that movies start coming out more not more frequently is not the right term, but like, and we talk spectacle. They don't have to be spectacle. I just hope things are intriguing and interesting enough for people to want to do that just as much. Because I'm as much of a moviegoer as I am. I realize how many movies I haven't seen. Because yesterday going through the top 25 films of just the first 6 months of the year so far. Ticket, skip it, stream it. Okay, that's the one I'm kind of looking towards, leaning towards. But yeah, I don't think I know anybody that goes to the movie theaters more than I do, and I still hadn't seen a lot of those movies. So hopefully there's a way to re-correlate that, because I'm down for a concert or a play or anything like that you only are able to see there.
Yeah.
To go to that. I'm producing a play right now. We just got an encore performance, one extra performance, because the one woman show that the lady doing it, she was doing it so damn well that people wanted her more. So more shows, which I'm ecstatic about. And just being involved in like plays and stuff like that is just it's a joy. It's really fun because it is so personable, and it'd be nice for films to be that personable again, because they should be, especially with us in like just the position of like hey, we go on YouTube to talk about films all the time. There's many different niche communities that people that do that, and rightfully so. It's a fun thing to do. It's what we want to talk about anyway, a lot of the time. So we're here to talk about it. But I'm surprised with this part of the community that it almost takes away from people going to the movies sometimes instead of trying. That's one thing that I do hope that MCubed will do in the future is like, hey, go check this out. Come listen to us talk about it, but go watch it first. Or if you haven't watched it yet, hopefully we inspire you to watch something and then come back and talk about it. There's always room to talk about it again, kind of deal. Because it's more fun to talk about things that people have seen and are willing to go see or interested in seeing and stuff like that. And that interest just isn't there like it was. It's interesting.
I wonder if I should do like in-depth book reviews for SciWorks for sci-fi novels. I wonder if that'd be a thing. I wonder if that's even, just do it easy, StreamYard it, be done with it.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd be in. Because you could do short format version of that, or you could do even long format versions of it too. Either or.
Well, it's something to think about.
Yes. But thank you again for joining. Everywhere that Stormy said to follow him earlier, go follow him and don't bug him at the places he said not to bug him. So that means bug him in the places he does want you to bug him.
The only other thing I got is like Instagram, and I just keep some photos there. That's Storm Bear Williams. That's a handle on Instagram. Mostly I use it to meme share.
Oh, rightfully so.
With my friends, I hardly put anything up. So if you want to get actually see a lot of stuff I do every day, it's on Twitter.
The Twitter stuff's great. Your Twitter is one of my favorites to follow because I love my movies and stuff, but I love watching like Anton Petrov, Scott Manley, all these different type of people. Joe Scott. Any of these kind of space oriented kind of fellers, and they're all great. But we have a resident rocket scientist right here. So let's go hear it from the horse's mouth, And that's all I got for today.
That's it.
We're
done.
So thank you all for hit that like, subscribe, notification bell, all that good stuff. There is a Patreon and Wooger affiliate link down at the bottom if you want to support the channel, all that good stuff. That's my spiel. But without further ado, we are out of here and come back to MCubed for more movie love and goodness. We'll see you all in the next one.
Bye.